Now at 5 with elections coming up, we're going to tell you the deadline to register to vote in your state, plus some tips on making sure your pets stay nice and cool during the intense heat. And authorities in Illinois released new details on yesterday's deadly shooting at a 4th of July parade.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The deadlines to register to vote for upcoming elections are nearing. This is KOAM News at 5. Folks in Missouri are just about out of time. The deadline for the August 2nd primary in the Show Me State to register is tomorrow. For the August 2nd primary in Kansas, the deadline is July 12th. Oklahomans will vote also on the 2nd. They need to register by Friday. And in Arkansas, the deadline is July 10th for an election on August 9th. As expected, we hit triple digits today. Doug Heddy.
Yeah, unfortunately, super hot outside, also very humid, so our heat indices are way up there. Excessive heat warning in effect all the way into Friday for Kansas and Missouri, and then heat advisories on the Oklahoma and Arkansas side. Not too much going on out there. We just have a few little clouds kind of shifting through. Besides that, most of the Central Plains is just very hot and humid. 97 Nevada, 99 in Joplin, 97 in Miami. We have 95 in Neodesha, and then you factor in the humidity. You can see our heat indices right around 105. So very hot, humid evening. We're going to slide back through the 90s, 80s, only right around 80 degrees for an overnight low, and the heat sticks around. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
See you then. It's important to keep our furry friends safe during this intense heat wave. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital has some tips on how to keep pets cool. One is to remember their feet. If they stand on hot pavement for too long, the intense heat can burn off parts of their foot pads.
Dogs especially and cats do not sweat. So they can go into heat stress, heat stroke, and die very rapidly. Temperatures when they reach 75 degrees is when it starts getting really dangerous, because the asphalt alone at 75 degrees is almost 50 degrees hotter. So it can burn their pads to the point of blister and sloughing.
She also says buying paw boots and removing some of their fur could help protect them. Some kids in Joplin spent the day hanging out at the library. Joplin Public Library hosted their summertime play date. Children from ages 2 to 5 played outside for some hands-on learning. The program featured activities including the use of water, sand, and chalk. Children also saw the newest story walk book, Baby Beluga.
It's really just an opportunity to take advantage of our great outdoor space, kind of play, just engage in unstructured play.
If you want to find more events the library is hosting, you can go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. The city of Highland Park, Illinois is in deep mourning today following yesterday's shooting at its Independence Day parade. The death toll rose today to 7. With more than 30 others injured when a gunman opened fire from the rooftop of a business as the parade marched by. Today, police released new details about how the gunman carried out that attack. Reporter Marisa Perlman has the latest from Highland Park.
Police say the man they believe carried out Monday's deadly parade shooting, 21-year-old Robert Cremo III, fired off at least 70 rounds from a high-powered rifle that he legally obtained.
We do believe Cremo pre-planned this attack for several weeks. He accessed the roof of a business via a fire escape ladder and began opening fire on the innocent Independence Day celebration goers.
The investigation reveals the shooter was disguised in women's clothing as he carried out the attack.
Investigators do believe he did this to conceal his facial tattoos and his identity and help him during the escape with the other people who were fleeing the chaos. Following the attack, Cremo exited the roof, he dropped his rifle, and he blended in with the crowd, and he escaped.
Officials say he then walked to his mother's home and drove away in her vehicle. He was apprehended about 9 hours later during a traffic stop. Police say they found another rifle in his car and more legal firearms at his home in a nearby town. Now investigators are pouring through videos of the incident and Cremo's social media accounts.
At this point, we have not developed a motive from him. We have no information to suggest at this point it was racially motivated by religion, or any other protected status.
The victims ranged in age from 8 to 85. Among those killed, Jackie Sundheim, who worked at a local synagogue, and great-grandfather Nicholas Toledo, who was visiting from Mexico. He was shot to death while watching the parade from his walker. Marissa Perlman, CBS News, Highland Park, Illinois.
Investigators believe the gunman acted alone and that his victims were random. They're still deciding which charges to file. The wife of WNBA star Brittany Griner says it breaks her heart to hear the contents of a letter the basketball player wrote to President Biden. According to a representative, Griner, who was arrested in Russia in February on charges of possessing cannabis oil, wrote in part, quote, "I'm terrified I might be here forever." Griner's trial began last week in Russia. The U.S. says she's being wrongfully detained. In her personal plea, Griner urged President Biden to free all U.S. captives. Still ahead, the push to be more sustainable.
More of these plastic-free, zero-waste grocery stores are popping up. I'm Anthony Pura with the difference they're hoping to make.
And next in Health Watch, when a new study shows about the rates of childhood obesity in the U.S. Topping today's Health Watch, the coronavirus was the leading cause of death for people between the ages of 45 and 54 last year. That's according to a new study published in JAMA Internal Medicine. Researchers looked at death certificates from the CDC, and they also found for 2020 and 2021, COVID-19 was the third leading cause of death overall. Cancer and heart disease were the top two causes of death overall the past 2 years. Around the world, more than 260 million people suffered from asthma, and their numbers keep growing. Researchers in Australia have discovered a new way to diagnose the most serious and potentially deadly cases. By analyzing urine samples, they identified biochemical changes that occur in the lungs. They hope the finding will lead to new treatments for severe asthma, which can't be controlled by existing medications. A new study suggests children today are heavier than they were in the last decade. Researchers say the percentage of kindergartners considered obese has jumped. Reporter Astrid Martinez has more on the findings.
A new study in the journal Pediatrics finds children between the ages of 6 and 11 have greater rates of obesity when compared with children 12 years ago. Researchers followed two groups of children. The first started kindergarten in 1998 and the second group in 2010. They tracked their height and weight measurements through 5th grade. At every age, more children in the 2010 group were considered obese. Researchers also say fewer children in this second group entered kindergarten with a normal body mass index. Childhood obesity is considered an epidemic in the U.S. The CDC estimates 14.7 million children and adolescents are obese. Obese young people are more likely to be obese as adults and develop diabetes and other risk factors for heart disease, such as high blood pressure and cholesterol at earlier ages. Researchers also found social disparities, with more Black children developing obesity by the 5th grade, while incidence in other race and ethnicity groups remained unchanged or decreased. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
MRIs remain the gold standard for visualizing prostate cancer. A study presented in Amsterdam said older MRI technology appears to be more accurate than the new prostate-specific PET-CT imaging systems. In a test, both machines were used to screen patients for prostate abnormalities. They were equally effective at detecting clinically significant cancers, but biopsies showed the MRIs were better at detecting all other grades of the disease. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, President Biden hands out a special honor for 4 Vietnam War veterans.
Plus, the heat really sticks around as we go through the rest of the work week. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, it turned out to be another super hot, humid day across the region. Humidity levels on the high side, so of course, it makes it feel hotter than what it actually is. Your body, it sweats to cool, but when it's humid outside, the sweat doesn't evaporate. So your body thinks it's actually hotter than what it actually is. So to your body, the heat index means We've been at 105, 106, 107 throughout the day. So dangerous heat, excessive heat warning, really until Friday. Heat advisories in effect on the Oklahoma and then also the Arkansas side. And it's been fairly dry. We got a little bit of rain over the weekend, but our drought tracker, it's still very dry across the region. So we could use a little bit more rain. We just don't have much in the forecast. Look at our temps. Most of us 98, 99 to near 100 degrees. Then you can look at our humidity, our dew points sitting upper 60s to lower 70s. So what that does in return is it gives us very muggy, soupy conditions. When our dew points get at 70 or above, it's muggy, it's soupy outside, and that's why we have heat indices sitting kind of that 104, 105, 106 degree range. They were actually a little bit higher just a couple hours ago and will continue to go up over the next couple days. 7th and range line, pretty much clear skies, 99, feels like 104. Relative humidity's at 36%. We'll drop back through the 90s, 80s, eventually about 78, 79 degrees a little bit later on tonight. Not too much going on out there. A few little clouds out across southeastern Kansas where there was an isolated shower or two earlier today. But besides that, nothing going on in the Central Plains. You have to travel north before you find really any showers and thunderstorms. Big dome of high pressure just to our south. Until that breaks down, we are going to have the heat and mainly dry conditions, and that's what we're going to see as we go through the rest of the week. Let's go through time. We'll stop tomorrow morning about 80 to start the day. Quick warm up, mid 90s by noon, and then we'll go all the way up right around 100, 101 degrees during the afternoon. So very hot, very humid. 77 to start, 94 by noon. High temp right around 100 degrees. Tomorrow night, few showers, northern counties, most of us stay dry. We drop back right around 80. And then on Thursday, much of the same, partly sunny skies, a little bit hotter, 101, 102, 103 degrees by the time we head into Thursday afternoon. All right, heat indices tomorrow, 105 to 110 once again. Heat indices on Thursday, 105 to 110 once again. It's still going to be hot on Friday, but we start to see a few changes. Cold front starts to work in, temps triple digits. Cold front actually slides through, so this drops us into the lower 90s for highs by the time we head into Saturday, which will be a lot better, about 10 degrees cooler. 102 tomorrow, 103 Thursday, 103 Friday, 93 Saturday, but right back to 100 on Sunday, and 93 is hot.
Is it?
Yeah. So
even though it'll seem relatively cool. 10 degrees cooler than the day before.
Crazy, isn't it?
It is that. Thanks, Doug. Hey, the new antenna is now at the top of our tower. We are still broadcasting from the temporary antenna lower on the tower as we prepare to transition to a new, more powerful transmitter. Our signal is kind of glitchy for some of you from time to time, but that is temporary, and when the project is finished, we're going to be broadcasting with more power than ever. Coming soon. Bear with us. Check out the progress anytime on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/power. President Biden today awarded 4 men who fought in the Vietnam War the nation's highest honor for military service, the Medal of Honor. Staff Sergeant Edward Kaneshiro, Specialist 5 Dwight Birdwell, Specialist 5 Dennis Fujii, and Major John Duffy all put themselves in harm's way to repel enemy attacks on their units, allowing other wounded troops to flee to safety. Coming up, a federal judge rules in a lawsuit involving major opioid manufacturers. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Clifford Brackeen served in the U.S. Army from 2007 to 2014. The Aurora, Missouri native was stationed in Iraq, and we salute Staff Sergeant Clifford Brackeen, a 4-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, a federal judge ruled in favor of 3 major U.S. drug distributors in a $2.5 billion lawsuit that accused them of using and causing an opioid health crisis in one West Virginia county. The suit said AmerisourceBergen Drug, Cardinal Health, and McKesson distributed tens of millions of pills in Cabell County over 8 years. In his 184-page ruling, the judge wrote that Opioid cases must be decided not based on sympathy, but, quote, on the facts and the law. U.S. breakfast food giant Kellogg's lost a legal battle in Britain. Kellogg tried to block new anti-obesity measures, banning the promotion of sugary cereals. The rules are set to take effect in October. A high court judge rejected the company's argument that the regulations don't consider the nutritional value of milk added to cereal. More plastic-free, zero-waste grocery stores are popping up. Reporter Anthony Pura has more about the difference they're looking to make and how they're catching on with shoppers.
The Mighty Bin Market offers groceries without the prepackaged plastic. Isabel De Milan opened the zero-waste, plastic-free grocery store in San Diego as an option for environmentally conscious consumers like her.
I tried really hard to go to regular grocery stores and find things not in packaging, as well as non-toxic products, and it was just such a mission to find.
But in here, customers can find many traditional grocery items, as well as personal care and household products. They're stored in large bins and glass dispensers, meaning shoppers will need one of these to put them in. Customers can buy jars from the store. They can get a donated one or bring their own, which can then be reused and refilled. While many grocery stores like this one are starting to pop up across the country, it's still very niche. Corey Chafin is a food industry consultant.
I think you could see more coming up in certain geographic areas where you have high urban density and you have a consumer who's willing to go through a greater degree of inconvenience for that.
He says the biggest hurdle zero-waste, plastic-free grocery stores face is changing consumer behavior.
Though you may intend to shop in a certain way, in practice you're going to go with what is most price effective and what's convenient for you.
It's just going to be a learning curve, but once you get a hang of it, people have told me they really enjoy this way of shopping. Plastic free.
De Milan believes it can catch on, hoping individual habits lead to collective change. Anthony Pura, CBS News, San Diego, California.
Having a new car doesn't necessarily mean you'll have less car trouble. J.D. Power reports people had more problems in the first 90 days of having a new vehicle than ever before. The Consumer Insights Group surveyed more than 84,000 people who had bought or leased a model 2022 vehicle. 11% reported more issues than in 2021. That's a big jump. A J.D. Power executive said the highest increase ever seen in 36 years was 3%. And for the 8th year in a row, Chick-fil-A ranks as America's favorite fast food restaurant in a survey of more than 20,000 fast food customers. Sandwich chain Jimmy John's came in second on the American Customer Satisfaction Index. Domino's, KFC tied for third, while McDonald's finished in last place. But overall, the survey finds customers continue to prefer full service over fast food restaurants, and the gap is widening. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, we're going to hear from survivors and witnesses of the Illinois parade shooting. And then on KOAM News at 6, officials in southwest Missouri identified the area's first case of monkeypox. Plus, the Missouri Highway Patrol puts out a report on traffic fatalities during the holiday weekend. And a World War II veteran in Oklahoma celebrates a century on Earth, the 100th birthday. Stay with us. CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. A major water lily in the Royal Botanic Gardens in London is discovered to be part of a completely different species. The Victoria boliviana is the biggest known water lily species in the world. Its leaves can grow to close to 10 feet wide, can support nearly 180 pounds, which would be a really, really big frog, like a Godzilla frog. According to the senior author of a study published in the journal Frontiers in Plant Science, having this new data on the Victoria and finding out this new species is important in protecting it. I suppose you couldn't be protecting it if you didn't know it existed.
That's huge.
That's big. Yeah. people could walk on that. As long as they didn't weigh more than 180 pounds.
Yeah, I would start sinking.
Final look at the weather.
Super hot. Heat indices very high once again. Look at tomorrow, 102 degrees heat index near 110.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here at 6. Let's make it a great evening.